Hello, everyone. Lance and Kel from Refocus on Happiness. Listen, you really don't have to suffer. You'd be amazed how much better you can feel even in the first 48 hours. So in the next 30 seconds, I'm going to show you that one thing you can do right now to get yourself feeling back today. First things first, very important for you to know. The decision to stay, to be in a relationship, it's not logical. It's emotional. Think about the classic phrase, there's something about them. Well, if you want to get them back, there's got to be something about you. So this video is for people who are going through a breakup or experiencing relationship challenges. The secret to getting them back is you first have to get you back. So before you can strengthen your relationship with someone else, you first have to strengthen the relationship with yourself. Doesn't that make sense? And you have to stop sabotaging it. But how are you going to do that if you can't control your emotions? Think about it. Isn't it true? When you feel like crap, that's exactly when you say things you shouldn't be saying. And that's exactly when you do things you shouldn't be doing. Do you find yourself in situations where your emotions get the better of you? Are you having problems enforcing your boundaries? Well, if that's you, you really need to keep watching, because I'm going to show you how to break that pattern at the core and to do it again within days, not months, not weeks, not years, days, because it does not matter what you know conceptually. It only matters what you can do. And if you can't control your emotional states, you effectively know zero. The problem is everyone's teaching how to get them back the wrong way. All the conventional wisdoms out there are making it about getting them back when it should be first about getting you back. Think about when no one's going to fight for a relationship that isn't worth fighting for. I mean, if you're not enjoyable to be around, well, contrary to popular belief, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. And that's why I want to show you how to do this right the very first time and how to do that within days. So if you're interested in getting them back, by first getting you back, you're going to want to watch this video. So the first step, as promised, you need to have a clear and straightforward game plan. And that game plan is actually pretty simple and straightforward. First step is to know the two most valuable resources for everything you want in your life. And I really do mean everything. Love, health, and wealth across the board, including resurrecting your relationship, is to be able to control your emotional states. It all starts with you, not them, you. Doesn't that make sense? So if you want to learn how to do that, really get control of your emotional states and energy, we need to speak, you and I. First step is to break that book, a breakthrough session. And to do that, please go to refocusonhappiness.com. REFOCUSON happiness.com. On there, you'll see a button, clearly said, contact Lance. And feel free to go there, book a call. Of course, there will be an application form. Please take that very seriously, because that brings me up to speed in your situation. Otherwise, feel free to get to know me and what I do a little bit better. You can click the Watch Now button and watch a free webinar, and that will give you the overall bird's eye view of what I do and how I do it. Now, granted, that's not going to teach you how to do it, the clear step-by-step. You do need me working directly alongside with you, but at least for the first time, you'll understand very clearly why your way has never worked and, quite frankly, never will. So either way, once you do that, you'll have an opportunity to book a call me, and once I receive that form, I'll be in contact with you within 72 hours, and I'll teach you not just how to resurrect your relationship, but how to resurrect your life at the emotional core. Looking forward to speaking to you. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Go to refocusonhappiness.com. What you want to do is you want to click the button at the top, contact Lance. Very, very easy form. When you go there, you'll see you put your name, your last name, your email address, and your phone number. And I will get in touch with you in just a few days, okay? Just be a little patient. I got a lot of people I work with, but I'll get in touch with you in 72 hours maximum. But after you do that contact Lance link, feel free to scroll around here. Again, Steve Martin has a great phrase. He says, be so good at what you do, people cannot ignore you. If you scroll down, you'll see testimonials from psychologists, doctors, zillions and zillions and zillions of past clients, including medical directors, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, I'm making this so obvious for you, what I represent for you, what I believe. The only reason you would not do this is if you're a glutton for punishment. So yeah, feel free to take a good look around. Again, I'm gonna make it very clear what I represent for you if this is something you're serious about, okay? Awesome. Look forward to speaking to you soon. What brought you my way? What made you decide to do this program?
A breakup with my boyfriend, a really bad breakup with my boyfriend, where he just suddenly stopped talking to me out of nowhere. And I was just really sad, really depressed. I'm looking for answers, looking for help.
So just like maybe to add context that like he just stops speaking to you out of nowhere, just so people
I
can
don't know.
relate to. How many years are you guys together for? All of a sudden he just disappeared.
All said and done, I mean, we started out as friends 5 years plus.
So after a total of like 5 years together, just one day he just disappeared.
Stopped talking. Just stopped talking to me, disappeared. Couldn't reach him, couldn't get any answers from him. Nothing.
Gotcha.
No idea.
And a lot of people can relate to that because, you know, it's like people, you know, a lot of people out there have been, you know, married together, whatever, for years, even decades in some cases. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's like it comes to a screeching halt and it's like, what do I do? And what's interesting is a lot of people feel, you know, a lot of people when they first go into those situations, the first inclination is to say, well, it used to be good. You know, I should, you know, it's like almost like, well, it used to be good with them. So why should I look for help? Because it used to be good. But what they don't understand is they have no experience at dealing with the difficult challenges. In that case, they're really at ground zero. So here you are, all of a sudden out of nowhere, your relationship came to a screeching halt. You're at ground zero. And how long did you essentially deal with that and suffer before you and I came connected? How long did you kind of, you know, deal with that, suffer through that before you and I finally connected?
I'd say probably a good 2-3 months, easy.
2-3 months.
Yep. Nothing changed. I feel in the same way from the first day up until 3 months later.
Gotcha. And how would you, if you were going to, looking back, you know, how would you describe those 3 months? How challenging were they for you?
They were awful. It was hard to get out of bed. It was hard to take care of my son. It was hard to go to work. Everything was hard. Didn't want to eat. It was very, very difficult.
And
I tried reaching them all the time. I could never reach them. So that, I think, even compounded, made it worse. So.
And after 3 months, and so after 3 months, he's still just completely non-existent, just disappeared.
Yep.
Yeah. See, so anyone listening to this call here, you know, there's a lot of people that have the same situation as you. You think things are really great, things are great, and maybe they were, right? But you know, relationships, they're always evolving. They never, you know, they're always changing, and that, you know, it's not just you in the relationship, it's the other person too. So for whatever reason, you know, he decided he wanted to take some time or whatever. But so after about 3 months of suffering, going through that, that's when you and I finally connected.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So from where you were, where you're having a hard time eating, it's hard to take care of your child. Obviously you start a new business too, right?
I just started my new business.
Just started
Yes,
a new business.
exactly.
So everything's
Yep,
in a real shitstorm, it sounds like.
Yeah. Very much so.
So we connected. The first time we connected, Jennifer, I mean, I'll just ask this way. Here I am, I'm speaking to you. I'm letting you know, like, hey, if you're going to do this, it's all about you. It has nothing to do with him. I don't guarantee what he's going to do or not do. But ultimately, this is to really bring that emotion, really exit that emotional roller coaster. And for the first time, have the ability to just be good either way. When you and I spoke and we connected on the phone, you know, how did you feel like what I was telling you was, you know, I'm telling you stuff that's completely against probably what you've heard for a long time. How confident did you feel that I was going to be able to deliver what I said I was? Or was part of you just kind of like, you know what, I just want to roll the dice at this point? Like when I told you what I would be able to, do for you over 6 weeks, and between the time you decide, you thought about and you actually pulled the trigger, was it almost kind of a leap of faith? Or were you like, you know what, I feel good about this? Like, how did you feel about this? Because here I am, this random Facebook guy telling you, I'm going to recondition your brain. I'm going to make it where you're good either way. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but within a short period of time, you'll be good, and you wish you did this a long time ago, to the point where he will actually be your angel. When you first heard all this stuff, what I told you I'm going to do for you here, what was your first inclination as far as, how confident did you feel like this was the path for you?
My first inclination, once we spoke on the phone, I had a lot of confidence, because there's nothing else out there that I've tried. And I tried all different types of things, get your relationship back with this text and all sorts of stuff that's out there on the internet. But when you actually called me and we spoke over the phone, one-on-one, that's when I just had a good feeling in my gut that this was it. I found the right place, that this would work for me. But there was also that level of, it was still a little bit of a leap of faith. I didn't
Right.
know. I tried other things. Nothing was working. Nothing was working. It was all just a bunch of bad information out there that I was getting. So, I had to let a little bit, but no, I was really confident because you called me. That really did it. That really sealed the deal for me.
Awesome. So then once we began, for anyone here, and again, from where you started, where for 3 months, not so much fun, a real shitstorm. You have children. You had a new business you started. For 3 months, you're not eating. You're just everything's just a complete in disarray. I always tell people this is not a magic trick. This is a serious program. You're going to work hard. This is a different type of workout. So with that said, how long would you say it took you in a 6-week program before you recognize something is clearly starting to change?
Well, right away, pretty much, I noticed something was very small, little subtle things, but I noticed right away.
Mm-hmm.
I was laughing for no reason sometimes, and I hadn't laughed in months. Genuinely had not laughed in months. And so I noticed right away little things starting to change. So, which made me very optimistic to keep going.
Good. And so then follow-up question is, when did you feel the utmost confidence that, hey, this is not just a little something here and there, this is here to stay? For most people, I think that happens usually on average, probably like by week 3, because
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Week 3 was like a big,
for most people, but week 3 for you knew this was here to stay.
Yeah, just like bells went off, and I knew it was my new way of life, and I knew it was here to stay. And I was so super excited. And there was so many changes at that point at week 3, just so many different changes around, because I had gone through a lot, as you know, too. A lot of stuff happened over my 6 weeks that I was in the program, with my dad dying, my bank account getting hacked, my son to the ER, just starting the business. That was still very predominant in my life, having a brand new business and getting customers in. And of course, my attitude and what emotions I'm having is what's going to attract them or send them away, my patients, my customers. So I started to notice I was getting more patients at that time too.
Mm-hmm.
So, week 3 was for sure.
So that's great for everyone to hear here, because for anyone listening, Jennifer, I mean, thank God you and I connected when we did. You lost your father like in week, probably what week was it, week 2? It was pretty early, I think, right? Or
it was very early. It was week 2. Exactly.
Yeah. And when we got on the call, Jennifer just started off with me, just 2 weeks earlier, and 2 weeks into it, she lost her father. And I say this with the most respect. I'm like, Jennifer, I am so glad you and I are connecting when we are, because you're even though you didn't come to me for that purpose specifically on how to assimilate what was happening and be okay with it. I said, listen, let me be that one person to tell you from an emotional conditioning standpoint, you don't have to be in fucking pain. Even your father wouldn't want you to be there for weeks, months, or years. He'd say, hey, Jennifer, get out there and go get it. Go enjoy your life. Allow me to live on through you. So if he would even want you to, or not want you to suffer, why do we do that to ourselves? And you and I had a conversation, and I think you were pretty shocked how even just a couple days later, actually was not nearly as bad as how it probably would have been normally. And it's really important for people to know that. And I'll ask you to just give your what your experience was, to just be surprised on how well you can actually get past any kind of emotional challenge. And for a lot of people, losing a loved one is one of the top ones. So you lost one of your parents during our time together, and just really a few days later, it really was not nearly as bad as you knew it was. It would have been normally. So for anyone listening to this here, what was it like to actually have a true skill, a process that even something like that was not nearly as bad? What was that? Can you tell people what it'd be like to actually know that no matter what that challenge is, you don't have to sit there. You don't have to be in it.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing because the emotions still come. They're still going to happen because life's happening around you.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you can change it within minutes, it's just amazing. It's amazing. You accept it. Of course, there were plenty of moments over that time where I felt sadness start to set in that my dad wasn't here anymore. But I would do my boost and I would get right to it. And within minutes, I was feeling great with a big smile on my face and thinking of my dad still too, thinking about how happy he would be that I was smiling and happy at that moment, and that I wasn't crying and that I wasn't in pain. And it was amazing.
Wonderful. Yeah. For anyone listening to this call here, like, I mean, I really want to be the first person to tell you, no matter what comes in your life, no matter what that stressor is, for whether it's love, health, or wealth, you don't have to sit there in emotional purgatory. That does not have to be the situation. It does not matter what it is. From a biological perspective, it's really all the same. And like I said, even in this case, like with Jennifer, no, our loved ones don't want us to suffer. So why would we do that to ourselves? Why would we buy into the idea that we have to sit there and be in pain for months or years, when even that person would not want us to be in that place? Why would we do that to ourselves, except for the fact that we're simply told the wrong information? So, Jennifer, during our time together, not just for her relationship, was able to use this same practical 30-minute process to really propel herself when she really needed it. And that's really an awesome thing for, to be able to say.
And you supporting me and calling me at that moment when I had messaged you of what was going on, and you said some words to me. You asked me a question on that phone call that I have it's ingrained in my brain now. And anytime I feel any kind of sadness for anything, I ask myself, what good does sadness bring me? Because that's what you had asked me on that phone call that day.
Yeah.
So, and as soon as I ask myself that, it's like, I know right away, nothing.
No, there's zero.
And it's gone. Yeah.
Zero is absolutely zero benefit to sitting in sadness. All that does is pave the way for more sadness. I mean, if there's any benefit at all, it's only in the instant where you feel that emotion. Is you can think of it like a call to action. Like, okay, I now need to do blank. And you know what that blank is, because 2 minutes is too long. But
Yes.
the only, if you want to see there's any benefit at all, you can translate it as a call to action. But other than that, most people live in sadness forever. They just keep allowing themselves to go through these waves of sadness because they buy into the nonsense of these, let it out and talk about it. And all they're doing is perpetuating. That's the problem. But there's zero benefit to sadness. The only thing you could potentially argue is a benefit as only initially, when that wave first comes as a call to action. That's fucking it.
Right.
So yeah, when you and I talked after you told me what was going on, it's like listen, let me make sure this is really clear here. I know you came to me for the relationship aspect, but this is for everything. You don't have to be there, and this actually is an opportunity for you to work even harder. Because imagine your dad looking down upon you and just seeing how amazing and how strong you are. I mean, how cool is that? And as a real legacy, Jennifer, you can teach your children these things. So that's what an incredible gift, to give to others. But
I'm just a living example for my son too. I know that he's watching.
Yeah. I mean, what a great legacy. Yep. So the first few days you know something's happening, but around week 3, we're like, this is here to stay. That's where you're like, and for anyone listening here, I tell this very clearly. This ain't no magic trick. This is a serious program. It's hard work. Everyone like Jennifer does a 30-minute process. They work hard, and it's the way you recognize the differences is no different than if you're working with a personal trainer, classic sense. If I was Jennifer's personal trainer, and she's able to lift 100 pounds, well, maybe week 1, at the end of the week, she's able to do 110, then 120, then 130. But here's what's cool. By the time she gets to 140, you have to say, I'm 40% stronger than when I started. This is clearly something is happening. But that's what we do for her brain, her conditioning. And it's at a certain point, you reach that threshold where you say, wow, I've had all these experiences. So many people have told me certain things. I'm showing up differently. I'm communicating differently. There's so many of these quote unquote data points. I have no choice but to acknowledge, like a scientist, the data is real. And for most people, it's usually around week 3 or so where they recognize this is here to stay. With it, one caveat, as long as you keep doing the 30-minute process. That's the one caveat. But as long as you keep doing that, it's a gift that keeps giving. This will never stop. So okay, here's what's really awesome here. So Jennifer, when you and I first started, I'm sure there was a part of you. I'm sure there's a part of you at some level. I forget the exact answer, but I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, well, if I hear back from him, maybe there's a way to resurrect this relationship. Was there?
For sure.
Okay,
yeah,
I forgot that one, because I always emphasize to people, I don't get into that because I'm like, this is about you. I don't even want to have that conversation. I tell people, hey, if you want to have a real shot to make that work out, this will do it, because it'll set the stage so you show up differently. But I don't go too far into that one, because I always make sure it's clear to people. If you want to work with me, you want to do this, it's only for you and you alone. I will set the stage if you want that opportunity for that to happen, but I'm not going to go so far into that, because this is ultimately for you. So there was a part of you that did have that in the back of your mind. Hey, that might be something that I want for myself, right?
Oh, absolutely. In the beginning, absolutely was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So now something very interesting happened for you here. A few weeks later, someone comes out of the woodworks, right?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Can you talk to me about that a little bit? Like what that was like? How did you feel when you got that text message or whatever that was?
Oh, I felt all sorts of ways. So it was about week 4, I think it was, the end of week 4 where I got the message, professing his love to me, and it was in a text message. And at first I was just like, whoa, wow, I wasn't expecting it. And I wasn't even thinking about it anymore, actually, getting him back or making it work.
Yeah.
It really was the furthest thing from my mind. And when he texted me, normally I would have thought I would have texted him right back, but I really didn't have much of a desire to text him or talk to him or even acknowledge him at that moment. So I didn't. So which even blew my mind that I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to. That's the thing. I didn't even want to. So
the tables have turned. The student has become the master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
because I started to remember the negative things. Because like you had said, when you're trying to get back together with somebody, you think about all the good things that happened, all the good times you shared, and the happy moments, and you forget about the reasons and what made you split or not be with that person anymore. But it was different when I got that text. I started to remember why we weren't talking, why I hadn't, talked to him, and that was ultimately why I didn't want to even reply to the message. So, because I felt happy.
Good. Yeah. It's like, you know what? I'm good. Why would I do that to myself? It's like,
Exactly.
that's, you don't understand. That's how you break the cycle. When you have that condition in, you feel great by yourself. You all of a sudden you're not codependent. You're not drawing in negative people because you already feel great. And I give people an analogy many times because people don't quite understand this because they've never experienced what you experienced. Never. You realize you're a very small percentage of the population. But I give people an analogy. I'm like, imagine 10 years ago, you had a boss that fired you unfairly, treated you like shit, get out of here, and it was completely wrong, right? But imagine 10 years later, that same person called you to offer you another job, and a very good paying job. But imagine the situation, you're not doing so well financially. You need the money. Well, you might really not like that person, but you're probably going to take the job, right?
Right.
That's the analogy for why people keep going back in these same kind of bullshit situations over and over again. They don't have a way to feel great themselves in a practical way, so they keep having to leverage from other places. But that's a losing proposition that never works long term. Eventually, that same person is going to do the same shit again, and here you are. You have no job again, and whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But then I say, well, what if 10 years later, Jennifer, and this is not so far from the truth, what if you won the emotional lottery and you won $100 million in the lottery, and then that person calls you up to offer you a job, even though it's a very good paying one? What would you tell that person? Fuck you.
No,
You'd be like, I'm good. Why would
Exactly.
I don't need your job. You might not say fuck you, but you say, I don't need your job. I'm good, right?
Absolutely.
And that's basically what you have now. You won the emotional lottery. So you have that as a conditioning process, and therefore there's no void to fill in.
That's right. That's a great analogy. That's exactly what it feels like.
So how do you feel about your future now, Jennifer? How do you feel about your future in relationships?
Very optimistic. And I at this moment in my life, I don't even really want to get into a relationship like that. I mean, there's so many people like they're coming up out of the ground around me, calling me, and I'm meeting them out on the street, and even through this whole pandemic, and it's just crazy. But I'm actually really happy with myself and the way my life's going, and I want to keep on this track for a little while and spending that time on me. And so, yeah, I'm not even really interested that way in having any kind of relationship right now. I want to keep going.
So question is, you think all these people that are magically being drawn to you, think that's coincidence?
Oh, no. I had a friend come over, it was actually to my office, and she kept telling me, I don't know what it is, but how great I looked. And I mean, it was just an average day. Hair was pulled up in a ponytail, nothing special going on. And she just couldn't tell me how great I looked. But she didn't know what it was. She was asking me, did you change your hair? No. And so it was great. And I've just noticed all sorts of people approaching me in public that, I don't know, it never really happened before. Just randomly walking up to me in public, women, men alike, not just to hit on me or anything, just all across the board. Just people coming up to me and talking to me. And so it's very interesting.
It is interesting. And here's the answer to that. When you feel radiantly beautiful, you are radiantly beautiful. That's why that is. When you just feel great, you radiate that. People have to respond in accordance to the version you bring to the table. And when you feel like that, you're not going to allow nonsense into your sphere of influence. You're just like, I already feel great by myself. So, and with that said, because you're no longer even potentially vulnerable to those, quote, those people, the old you might have wasted your time and energy with them, but the new you, you're literally emotionally bulletproof. So that energy that might have gone sucked into some other realm is being reallocated towards creating the life of your dreams. So that gives you all the energy you have in a practical way to meet the right people. Think in the past, all the other people you might have met normally were all of a sudden they just start sucking your time, your energy. And if you waste all your time with those people, well, what energy is going to be left to create the life of your dreams with the right people? What energy is going to be left for your son? What energy is going to be left for your business? Nothing. But now you're literally immune, emotion bulletproof to those people. I mean, the truth is, you can't stop yourself from going on maybe one date with one of these people. But as soon as you see very clearly that person is not in line with you, assume keep doing your 30 minutes every day, as long as you keep doing exactly what you've been given and never stop, it'll be impossible for those people to take you in the wrong direction. And because you're not going in that direction, that energy you're saving is real. That's real. That's practical. That's tangible. That's energy you're going to use to meet the right people. And all that together really funnels into just this radiantly, radiant version of you who just feels great. And people have to respond in accordance to that. So your business changes. You make more. You're better with your clients. People want to be around you. Your friends gravitate towards you more because of the energy you have, the energy you radiate. You meet the right people because you're not being sucked by the wrong people, and you just feel good. I mean, you just feel good. So it's like you win across the board.
Yes. Yeah, no, I've met some wonderful people too. I've really met some good people. Just, whether it be a patient or just somebody as a friend, I've met some great people lately. I really have. Over the last maybe 2 weeks, I've met some great people.
Wonderful. So let me ask you a question here. Maybe just kind of close here. What would you, if you knew anyone who's going through what you went through, where they were in a relationship for years, maybe even decades, and all of a sudden that person, where they thought things were so great for so long, that person just, for whatever reason, disappears. Maybe they need to find themselves. Maybe they met somebody, for whatever reason, just out and leaves. And that crushes people, as you know, and they're being crushed. What would you tell them? What would you tell them as far as, being able to relate to the situation and what needs to happen?
Well, I'd tell them to call you first. I really would. But I would sympathize with them and understand. But honestly, I would try to have them call you and line up with you for it, because, I don't think there's anything I could personally do. I could give them some advice, of course, and just talk about my experience with you and the whole program and let them know.
All right. Wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to add that I haven't asked? Is there anything else you think it might be missing? Any little voids?
No, just wanted to know how personal this was, how your personal attention to me was really what was just wonderful about this program. What I appreciated more than anything else about it wasn't, emails that you were sending me telling me this or telling me that. They were real phone calls. I knew I could call you at any moment. If there was anything I needed. And that was wonderful. I thought that was great. The personal experience, it was just great. And I'm so appreciative of it. My
pleasure. And I'm appreciative of you. You did great. You continue to do awesome. I mean, all across the board. And, even one of our last conversations, one of the more recent conversations a few ones ago, where after he reached out to you, I encouraged you to actually, to connect with him, treat him like a human being. Hey, I'm not telling you go in those other directions anymore. And I'm glad, because I tell people, you might think you want that person back, but by the time you're done, you're not going to feel the same way anymore. You'll be at a different level, and they might not be so as attractive or as enticing as used to be. But even though you felt that way, I still said, hey, you know what? You can't not be grateful to the guy. I mean, he got you do something that's been a long time coming. So have that conversation. Treat him like a human being. It doesn't have to end in any kind of weird way. You can kind of give it your own version of closure or whatever. But it was awesome to have that. And I do have people that do the program that do get your opportunity and they still want to explore that. I got a guy in the graduate program right now. I'm not graduate program, but I speak to people who graduated. I don't have a graduate program, but I speak to somebody who graduated and he got back together with his ex and he's doing awesome. And he's actually like on that verge of getting engaged. Like they're probably going to get the next step. But the only thing that concerned me is I spoke to him. I said, "Hey, are you still doing your practice every day for 30 minutes?" And he smiled at me, but not a good smile. Smile like, well, slacking, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, don't fucking do that. I told you this is not self-sustaining. Don't think what happened in the past can't happen again. This is actually even more of a reason to be even more disciplined because relationship challenges are always going to happen. Just like in anything in life, you want to be your most physically adept self. You want to be your most mentally strong self. This is not an autopilot thing. And on that note, a great thing for you, Jennifer, just to reemphasize, that's why in the contract for life, I always make sure everyone commits. Not everyone follows, but you can never come back to me and say, I didn't make it really clear. You cannot skip days. Never.
No.
Never.
It's just like with your physical muscles on your body.
Yeah.
You can work out and you can get that perfect body. But if you stop working out after that point, you're not going to keep your perfect body.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
that's exactly right. And if you ever have, which you will, because we all do, when you have those challenging times again, that's when you go back to the baseline of the kickoff and you do exactly like fucking military style, exactly like that and even more. And as long as you do that, your result's inevitable. It's inevitable. Whenever, I mean, sometimes I'll get on a call with someone where they're going through that. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you anything you don't already know. If you need me to fucking boost you, I will, but it's the same rules and they'll do it. And because they'll do it, they'll get to an even higher level, but we cannot avoid those challenges and it's okay. So you don't try to be perfect. You say, you know what, this is a lifetime commitment, higher highs and higher lows. Life challenges will never not occur. I mean, you were kind of a unique situation because you had a zillion things that happened just.
I really did. Yeah.
I mean, you got hit with everything. So
I did, yeah.
So, I don't know. You might be a unique case where you already know, like you can, Jennifer. You can never forget during your time with me during the 6 weeks. You dealt with everything. So
I did.
You already know that it's going to get you to where you want to go. All you got to do is execute.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's great to be able to sit here and actually laugh about that and smile about it.
Yeah, incredible. What a gift. In an interesting way.
Yes.
Yeah. That's you gotta have a common sense humor. I mean, in its own way, what a gift. I may tell people if you can do this great during one of your lowest, most challenging moments, think how great you'll do when things are going your way.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So you know, it's in some ways it is indeed a blessing.